artist. Today we are going to be drawing a flamingo. I am going to start off by holding my paper vertically, which means up and down. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to draw my flamingo's head. So the top of his head is going to be more round, and then his neck gets skinny and becomes kind of like two parallel lines. So I'm going to begin with kind of a letter C. And then I'm going to bring the tips of that C together and down. And now that I have one flamingo, I think I want to give him a friend. So I'm going to do the same thing, starting out with a letter C. He's going to be a little shorter. And then we're going to bring those lines together and down. All right, now that we have our two flamingo heads, I think we're ready to add their beaks. So we're going to start with a shape kind of like the letter V, but instead of coming to a point, it's going to come into a curve. So we'll start with the top of our V and curve down and back to his face. And we'll give our other flamingo a beak. All right, and I want them to have a way to open their beaks and eat, so I'm going to add a line more near the bottom of the beak, and that's where they can open their mouths. And flamingos have a two-tone beak, so I'm going to give a curvy line on their beak, and that is where it's going to change from black to orange. Can be any type of curvy line you want because no two flamingos are the same. Now we have our head and our beak. I think we're missing one main thing on our flamingo, and that is his eyeball. So we're going to draw a lemon or a football shape. Do that in both of our flamingos. And then we can do part of a circle where he's going to see out of. And then we are going to give that some highlights. All right, friends, I am going to use my Sharpie to color the pupil black and the tip of my toucan's beaks. You can do the same if you're using Sharpie. All right, and now that my flamingos are ready, I think I want to add one more thing. I'm going to add some leaves to the background, but I'm not going to see the full leaf. So I'm just going to do a leaf shape. I'm going to do some tropical leaves that have big chunks missing out of them. All right, I think it is ready to go. What do you think, friends? We're ready for the next step, color. To start, I'm going to use pink crayons to color in my flamingos. All right, friends, now I'm going to do a little technique called a gradient. So I want to use some yellow and some orange for my flamingo's beak, and I'm going to make it fade from yellow to orange. So I'll start with my yellow, and I'm going to push pretty hard when I start to try to get that really bright yellow color. I'm going to keep this bright yellow really close to the black, and as I go towards my flamingo, I'm going to go lighter with the yellow. So to go lighter, I just don't push as hard. Pick up my hand a little bit while I'm still coloring. Now we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction with the orange. So we start near the face and push pretty hard with the orange. And then as we come out, we're just going to lift our hand up and push a little less. And we can even go into that yellow a little bit, the lightest part of the yellow. And it'll look like it's fading from the orange to yellow. I'm going to do the same thing for my little guy down here. All right, and now let's work on our background. I am going to choose 2 different colors of green for my leaves. All right, and now that I am done coloring in crayon, I am going to use blue watercolor to paint the back of my painting blue. When you are using watercolor, you will need your watercolor, a paintbrush, and a cup of water. And you will need to take some water and dip it into the paint that you would like to use to wake it up. Then we tickle it and make sure that there is a little puddle to work with, because that is our paint. Just take that paint and we can go right into the background of our flamingos. And a very cool thing that is going to happen because we used crayons is we don't have to be super careful on the edges. Because we used crayons, it's going to help us keep the water away, because crayons and watercolor don't mix. So I can go right up to the edge of my flamingo, and even if I get a few little drops of blue paint in there, it won't stay because the crayon won't let it. All right, friends, what do you think? I love the way it looks. Great job. Bye.